DBSS Digital.
You're watching Success, Motivation, and Inspiration, where we share interviews with incredible leaders who are crushing it in life and business.
Hey, welcome back to Success, Motivation, and Inspiration. Today we've got Seb Brantigan on. He is a digital marketer, speaker, and author who also co-founded DBSS Digital to help businesses scale using automation and advanced marketing systems.
Yeah, exactly. We do a ton of lead generation, getting businesses names and brands out there. A big part of that is what we live and breathe daily.
When I search Seb Brantigan, your name shows up as the Britpreneur. How did you become known as the Britpreneur?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So back when I used to go to a lot of marketing and business conferences, in particular in the US, it was just a name and a phrase that I coined back before I started my current agency with my business partner at DBSS Digital. So it was just a name that stuck with me. I think it was one of my clients, again, out in the States, who gave me that name. I did a lot of work with people in the US, and it just became my brand, in essence, by mistakes, which got me onto other types of branding from that point. But that was the story behind that.
You and I were talking before the show started here about DBSS Digital, kind of how you got started at businesses you work for. Give me kind of an elevator pitch for somebody that's listening to this right now, who you help, who you serve best, and what problems you solve for them.
Yeah, definitely. So we show service-based business owners how to buy their time back and scale their business from 6 figures to 7 or 8 figures with Facebook ads and funnels. So in essence, we help business owners who are really good at what they do, but they're the world's best kept secret at what they do. So they're probably at a stage where they're doing well, they're profitable, and they're not doing terribly. They're at a good level. They know they could be that step forward. They don't know how to generate enough leads. They probably know how to generate referrals, and they might generate some leads through organic methods, but it can be very slow. So they need a method to do that at scale. To go a little bit deeper on that, if you've got enough people to talk to every day about your business, then you're going to create a bit of a whirlwind effect where if you're talking to enough people, having enough sales conversations, getting your name, business, and brand out there, inevitably people are going to do business with you. It's just the law of numbers. But you need that initial thing that I mentioned, which is you need enough people coming through that pipeline. Of course, you need other things optimized with the pipeline, and there's some other stuff, but you need a steady stream of people who are interested in your business to talk to and share your message with.
So you're focusing mainly on paid leads. We talk about this a lot. I speak at conferences all over on paid media versus earned media. And our entire thing is on paid media versus doing paid as far as doing paid advertising with Newswire Magazine, Amazon Fire TV, getting you on billboards, those kind of things. But you do a lot as far as where it's not, it sounds like somebody could jump in with you and not have to be extremely high ticket, where they could have you jump in and run some Facebook ads and stuff. Do you have a minimum buy-in or a minimum monthly commitment for the type of clients that you're looking to work with?
Definitely, yeah. So we do work with a very specific type of business. So, for instance, we don't work with startups as such. It's not that we don't want to. It's just we want to work with businesses that have a decent amount to invest in not only our services but also the advertising itself. So they need to be bringing in, a minimum of $5,000 a month to be able to run the advertising budget, and of course be able to afford our fees as well, which do vary depending on the type of services needed and the type of business as well. We do offer other things alongside of paid advertising. Some of our clients might only need a small amount of work from us. Other clients is a little bit bigger. And of course, we have clients who come to us who want other services we offer as well, which is our marketing automation services. So that's quite a broad thing, and it can be quite, without getting too technical, that effectively is setting up using technology to automate your business. So we do a lot of that, and also a lot of email marketing as well. So going back to what I was saying, so in terms of it varies how much businesses want. Some businesses we work with, they only need 1 email a week written for them, right? Other businesses, it's can you manage a marketing campaign where we're spending, $10,000, $20,000 a month. So there is quite a range of work and services required. But in a nutshell, that's what we do and who we help. But ideally, yes, at the same time, to your point, it's better if they are selling a high ticket product. Other companies we don't work with is a lot of e-commerce businesses where they're selling a smaller low ticket offer, where it's like a $20-$30 offer. Unless they're selling like high price stuff, then yeah, it can be tricky to make that profit quickly enough. So we are a little bit picky about who we work with. Just likewise on the other side, if you're a client looking to work with us, then you should be just as picky as well. So it works both ways.
People want to do paid advertising, want to get their face on the billboard or the cover of a magazine or, be on TV. And you're not ready to start doing paid media until you've got a product or service that is already selling. When people find you, a percentage of them pay you. And now the only thing that's missing is driving enough traffic to where you can upscale that, and where more advertising money equals more dollars, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely bang on. You're spot on that. As I mentioned, we've got to make sure the business is profitable. Like they've done something that's working on a smaller scale, even if it's to six figures, which is still a heck of an achievement. A lot of businesses don't make it to I don't know what the statistics are of businesses that fail in the first 5 years, but it's pretty high. So to be profitable, to be at six figures is a great achievement. But they've got to be at that level where they've got something that is, let's say, proven on that smaller scale. They just need to add fuel to the fire. Yeah, but you've got to get that process refined first. And that's one of the things we do. So when we work with businesses and work with people, we do take them through a pre-screening call, or it's a bit of a qualification process where we can say, okay, what is your core offer and how much of that core offer have you sold in the last 12 months? How have you done that? And we really get a feel for where they're at in the business. And that call is not always a quick call. Sometimes and I've done a lot of these calls personally myself recently, those calls could be, 45 minutes to an hour of us just fact finding and really honing in on, okay, are you a real fit for us? And actually for me, a part of that time is I'm just interested to learn about what people do. Even if we don't end up working together, it's a case of, hey, you're probably not a fit right now, and one of the things that we do as well to set the right expectations, we have a minimum 3-month commitment for any business that works with us, because it's probably a case of month one, we're really setting things up, testing, gathering the data, making decisions based on the data, number of leads, quality of leads. Do we need to make changes to the adverts, to the process, etc., etc.? Month one is a bit of that. Month two, you'll probably start to see some results, but then you're still not quite in profit because of the spend and our fees. But month three onwards is where we really start to see those results. We want to make sure everyone who works with us, they have a process where they have something that is converting, but also something simple as the leads that we're sending them, have they got a process where that person, or, if they're a solopreneur, they might be making the sales calls, or do they have something in place where they're actually speaking to these leads every day? It goes back to what I said a little while ago about having sales conversations about your business.
Number of touches, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Let's say you only speak to 5 people a day about your business, but one of them says, hey, I'm interested in working with you, and you take a very small deposit from them. Let's say it's $100 deposit. Well, you just made $100 in a day talking to 5 people. Imagine if you doubled your closing rate. But that's obviously just an example. Doesn't always work that way in real life, of course. But if you could do that every single day, imagine what your business would be like in a month from now, 3 months from now. And again, it all starts with getting enough people through the pipeline every day. But of course, there is a bit of accountability on the client's end to make sure they are calling those leads. They are giving us the lead feedback. They are asking us if they've got questions about something they don't understand. Going back to my point about the pre-screening call, we want to make sure it's right for them. They're keeping to those promises as well, so we can make it work. We want it to be more of like a partnership than anything. And in any partnership, there are roles and responsibilities on each side.
You mentioned earlier, I think before the show, maybe this is something I read about you online, about helping businesses to optimize their time, revenue, and profits using automation and technology. Is that something you're integrating and running for them?
Yeah, of course. So the automation side, that's something that we run and set up for them in most cases, just because that tends to be quite technical. We know what we're doing with that, and we just want to make sure that it's right and set up correctly from the emails that are going out. It's also making sure the content in the emails is right and relevant and getting them to take the right actions. So that is something that we do set up and manage for them in its entirety. We feel very strongly about that. And even though it feels like it's separate to the paid ads and the Facebook and Instagram ad side, it is technically a separate thing. But if you don't have that in process, the rest of it kind of falls apart. And that's the mistake I see other agencies make. And that's why I feel we're a bit different. Other agencies will fill your pipeline, but then if you don't have a process where you or your sales team are notified when a lead comes in, or notified when someone books a call, or notified when, even down to, you can get very detailed with the automation. It's different with every business. But even down to if you can be very clever with the automation. One example of that is you can send someone an email that contains a link to your proposal with your prices or how you work with someone. You can track if someone has opened and clicked that link to view your proposal. So you can have a process where even someone doesn't book a call, but they've seen the proposal and seen the prices, you can still speak to them, and that's a qualified person. So there's a lot you can do. The automation can be a bit of a rabbit hole. So we always start with the simple stuff like, reminders when someone books a call with you. You want to make sure there's an automation where if it's on Zoom, which it pretty much should be in most cases, the Zoom link's created automatically, sent to them, text reminders as well. So as I say, there's a lot into it. Don't want to get too technical, but my main point is you don't want to be generating a load of leads that are not tracked, not followed up with. And we've seen big mistakes before with businesses we work with where that first part, the lead generation bit's been there, but the automation bit is not there. And they're both actually equally as important, because otherwise you've got another problem. You had the problem before where you're not generating any leads. Now you're generating leads, but there's no follow-up. So actually you're not any better off, and you're probably worse off spending more.
You burn yourself when people hear about you, they reach out looking to do business for you, and you drop the ball. That's worse than them never knowing your name, huh?
Oh, it's honestly, you're spot on. I see this all the time, and I do mystery shop other businesses myself, where I go through their process, leave my details, and it's remarkable how many of them don't follow up, even though I've left a phone number and an email. I might get an email, and that's kind of standard thing, but we all get so many emails nowadays. So there's a lot to automation. Like I say, like for example, switching gears on this slightly, I mentioned about text message follow-up very briefly. One of the things that's very big here in the UK and other countries like the UAE as well is WhatsApp following, WhatsApp marketing. So text messages are great. Those are really, really useful. But, definitely the WhatsApp following, that's something I don't see much of at the moment. I know in the States it's not as big of a thing, but I know it's slowly growing. And it's the same with a lot of...
It's finally taking off here.
Well. Yeah, so it's definitely picking up in other countries too. But in the UK, as I say, UAE and other countries, they live on WhatsApp. Like it's interesting in the UAE, and bit of a tangent thing, but in the UAE, WhatsApp is that trust of a service where you can't even make phone calls in the UAE, but you can use the text messaging. But they still use it all the time. So it's that trust of a service, and because of the laws in the UAE, my point is you're contacting people on a trusted service that people respond to and react to quicker than ever, and it can all be automated. You don't have to manually sit there and WhatsApp people anymore. It can all be automated. So, there is a lot to it. I could talk about automation all day, but that's the type of thing we're doing with our clients, our own business as well.
Can you give me an example of a business you've helped to go from 6 to 7 or 7 to 8 figures using automation or marketing, or whether it's PPC, pay-per-click, or cost per thousand impression, whatever type of advertising?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So one business we've worked with is a real estate wealth and business training company. So they've kind of diversified the type of training they do. When I first started working with them, they were around the 6-figure mark, the kind of perfect example I mentioned earlier where they're profitable. There's a person in the business who can do selling very well, which is the co-founder.
Okay.
But they're at a point where they were just stuck. They were a bit of a ceiling. They weren't getting enough fresh people in. They couldn't add fuel to the fire. So I started working with them. They hadn't really done much paid advertising before. They hadn't done it consistently, which is another problem we see. So we started working with them to really look at their Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising, marketing, and get that up and running. But there are other considerations as well. The automation side, they were using really good software there, but they weren't using it the right way. So one of the things that we did is, alongside with the paid social route, paid advertising route, we were able to use the right automations to run the events and webinars that they do. So they do a lot of events, webinars, conferences. They needed a way to not only fill those with the adverts and the paid side, the marketing there, they needed a way to run a lot of events and webinars. So on the quote unquote back end, the automation, they needed that working correctly as well. One
You mean
example
as far
of
as
that
ticket
is,
sales and deliverables and all that kind of stuff as well?
yeah, exactly. Even down to reminders for the event, reminders on the day of the event, because it was a free event, a free webinar. So they needed to have a really, killer like reminder sequence. Why should you be here? Confirm your place, etc., etc. And of course, a post-event sequence, post-webinar sequence, and follow-up as well. There's always a chance that someone will not buy the event, but they might buy later on down the line. So it was just a way of doing
Watch the
that at
replay.
scale.
Yeah. By
It's just doing that at
the
scale.
downloadable digital detail or digital deliverables and stuff. So you saying that right there, this is not even, I hadn't even thought about this until you mentioned that, the success you'd had there. I've got a client who is featured on the cover of Newswire magazine, and it will be coming up on Amazon Fire TV as well, who I need to connect you with, that does events all over the country, and then is also an event planner. So this will be when once you get this done, I'll send your article over to her and make a 3-way text connection with you.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, that's the type of people we work with, yeah.
You talk about service-based businesses. In the U.S., a lot of times we talk about service-based business as plumbers, electricians, roofers, drywallers, that folks. But give me another breakdown of your perfect, if we sent you 100 clients this month, break down your perfect target client, exactly the problem that they have, the type of business they're in. I mean, if you get down as strict, as detailed as age, income, marital status, the way they vote, I mean, do you have a target client who you could really, you could solve a problem for them? And if so, what's the problem?
100%. Yeah. So, to narrow it down a bit more, we've had the most success with service-based business owners that are training and mentoring companies. They want to reach one-to-many through events, webinars, and workshops. So they're typically between 35, 55, approximately. We do work a lot with companies out there in the US as well. So specifically we work with a personal branding expert in Florida, in Miami specifically. Of course, we work with people in the UK as well. But the main thing for us is, while that stuff's important, it's the key things. Have they got something that people want? That's really important. Have they got an offer that converts? Is it high demand? Can they sell that offer as well? There's certain things that we can do as an agency, there's certain things that we can't do as an agency, even though we would absolutely love to. And one of the things for me as well, on a personal level, I am a father. I have a 18-month-old daughter, so I do love to work with business owners who are also family people as well. As a preference, so I get on better with people in that situation. That's our perfect type of person. We have worked with. We've been very fortunate to work with clients that have ticked pretty much all those boxes as well. But for us, again, we want to work with people we know we can get the best result for quicker, and we obviously want to create repeat clients. We hope that our clients will never leave us, not in a funny way, but in a way of we're helping them get these great results. We're adding some value. Again, looking at it as like a partnership. So those are the things we look at and look out for.
Awesome. When we go to commercial, we'll be right back.
This interview is sponsored by Newswire magazine. We celebrate the entrepreneurs and thought leaders shaping the future, those who don't just adapt, but innovate, who inspire others to think bigger, lead boldly, and create lasting change. Only a select few are featured in Newswire magazine, and for those who earn a place on the cover, the opportunities are unmatched. Your story shared with a global audience, your achievements celebrated on national billboards, reaching millions. Every leader has a story. Every vision deserves a platform. Who will rise to the top? Stay tuned. You're witnessing greatness unfold.
Hey, welcome back to Success, Motivation, and Inspiration. We're on with Seb Brantigan, the Britpreneur. Welcome back, man. Really excited to keep learning from you here and see how you're using paid media to help entrepreneurs and businesses grow. What are some of the latest trends that you've seen as far as automation and CRM systems and how can businesses leverage them best? Is that by reaching out to you directly? Or?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, one of the things that we do on our pre-screening call is we go through and we even give some suggestions on how businesses could be using it better. So as I say, even if people don't work with us, they leave with something of value. We learn a bit more about them. But one of the things that we find is really prevalent right now, and we're all aware of it, is the use of AI, artificial intelligence. And there's lots of different ways that that's coming about, especially in the marketing world. Is very much a public domain thing where anyone has access to it. You can access ChatGPT for free just by creating an account. So one of the things that we are really looking at, which is helping us with especially with our clients who are quite new to online marketing and they don't have much content, is using AI to generate some marketing emails, using it to generate some proposals or whatever the case may be. You can even use it to do some research, and let's say you were looking to build some automations around a webinar or an event that you're running, and so you need to know, okay, what reminder sequence should I have? You can ask AI to strategize all this stuff for you, or at least start the process, start the ball rolling. So that's one of the things that we've seen, and one of the CRMs that we use. So in other words, one of the softwares we use to build a lot of these automations, because you do need a type of software that can handle a lot of different automations, even if you're just doing simple ones, is called Go High Level. So Go High Level is a really, really reliable, powerful software that can allow you to create these automations. And within that, they've released some AI tools that will allow you to write marketing emails, even create images as well. So it can allow you to really fast track your business. If going back to what I mentioned earlier, some businesses I work with, they are coming up with an entirely new offer, entirely new brand. So if you come up with a new offer, new brand, new concept, you need to have some marketing images or marketing emails created. You need to have some copy created for your website, your landing page. That takes time. That takes a lot of time. For a busy business owner, then you might not be able to sit there for 3 days and create it all yourself. So that's why AI has been really useful for us as an agency and for businesses out there that want to get something up and running quickly. If you have an idea for something, you want to get it out there fast, you can do it in literally hours rather than taking weeks and weeks using AI.
Well, there's something to be said about, we've been using AI since 2016, 2017, AI that was not publicly available yet. Got a real great developer on staff. That's one of the things I think where people could really benefit from you working with you, is because this is what you're doing full time as a marketing agency. So the right questions, right prompts, the right tricks to make it do exactly what you want it to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of, I mentioned at the start, help business owners to buy their time back. And AI is one example of how you can buy your time back. Of course, like you say, it's not always a push button solution. It is important to either work with an agency like us that know the right prompts to give the ChatGPT, to give to other softwares out there, or the AI softwares. Otherwise, as you say, you do get very generic, irrelevant content that, hey, if you're trying to do something in a rush, get a quick social media post out there, then fine. But if it's something a bit more important, like let's say if it's a sales letter for an offer, if that's not as refined as it could be, or especially if it's a paid advert, if you're using the AI to generate content for paid adverts and you haven't put the effort into a prompt, then you're probably not going to see the results you want. It's not a case of pushing a button, generating content, copying and paste it onto paid adverts. Like, it's just not, you're not going to see the results that you want by doing that. Those things are part of the process, but it is really about refining what it is that you're asking for. One of the cool things that I've seen ChatGPT do now is they have a learning mechanism within your own account with the software. So in other words, as you are creating new requests with ChatGPT, it starts to learn and understand your business, starts to learn and understand your tone of voice. It will use your past information and past runs of data to generate new things. A bit like if you were, I always think it's AI as your personal assistant. If you brought on a personal assistant and it's day one of them working with you, yes, you could get them reading for your website. Yes, you could get them watching some videos you do or reading your content. And that's a good way for them to understand your brand, your business, what you do. But it's going to take them time to really learn, hone in, generating content or whatever it is they do for you. So this is a really cool thing about using it as your own personal assistant for sure. And of course, we do use AI in our own business as well, but there's always some personal touch we add to it as well. That AI doesn't necessarily yet have that full capability to generate.
If you're using AI to speed up the process, and you've got somebody like Seb Brantigan that's going in to tune it up and really make it sound concise and clear and make it work, that's worth the money, having an expert managing it for you. Where if you go out and you spend whatever amount of money, you spend the same amount with an expert or you try to learn it yourself, you're going to probably spend a lot more money wasting money on advertising, trying to figure out how to get it up to even where it's close to breaking even, where you could hire a company to take over and just do it for you. And you pay a little bit of a marketing fee, but your ROI is probably going to be a lot higher.
It's really worth it. Whether someone works with our agency or another agency that does a similar thing, it's definitely down to that trial and error, doing it yourself. Not only does it cost you money, it costs you time in lost opportunities. Let's say if you did have the money to figure it out, then you could be spending months and months and months doing it yourself, and eventually you might crack the code. I've learned from investing in things before, investing in mentors, training, education. That definitely has fast track things. In some cases, what I've invested in has not been what I thought it would be, and is not fast tracked the way I thought it would. But in a lot of cases, it has. It's definitely a case of working with talented people, and this is what I do in my agency now. So that we can grow and scale ourselves, we bring in talented people to help us with our own automations we run and a lot of things like that. So even though I know and do a lot of that stuff, we still bring in talented people to really run and grow this at scale. But it definitely pays to invest with people who have done that trial and error, so you don't have to do it. So again, you can get results a lot faster than you ever would trying to do everything on your own or going another route.
That's powerful. Again, I would recommend, if you're at a point where you've got a system in place, a product or service that's generating revenue, when somebody gets to your site, you get a percentage of them converting. Hire an expert that's doing a good job. They're going to give you a higher ROI than you will, unless you're planning on spending the next 2, 5, 10 years becoming a marketing expert. And then your business is probably not going to be doing great, by the way, anyway.
You're exactly right. A lot of businesses I work with, and we, as much as we offer so we're predominantly a done for you service, like I mentioned. So we do everything for you as much as is possible with both the advertising, the funnels, and the automation side. And most people go for that option versus a done with you option that we do as an alternative, which is more consultancy and advice. 95% of our clients do the done for you. And a lot of people we speak to say, well, I'm not a marketer, and I don't want to be a marketer. Yep. We still encourage people to understand what paid advertising can do. They just don't have to understand how it works and how you actually do it. That's our job and our responsibility, and our role is very much like electricity. We all know what electricity can do, but I can't sit here on the spot and explain to you how electricity works, accurately and specifically and succinctly. But I know what it can do. I know it can turn a light on, or it can brighten a room. Is exactly the same thing. So people do need to understand what it is and what it isn't. That's part of our process when we bring on a new client. Something we're always refining, but that's our onboarding process. So understanding what paid marketing can do, what it can and cannot do, what it isn't. It's both very important. And it's the same thing with automation landing pages as well. So it is about making sure they understand the ins and outs of it. So, and the expectations as well of what can happen.
Now, if you're watching this right now on Amazon Fire TV, or say you're reading this in Newswire magazine, if you're reading this in the magazine, scroll down to the bottom or click, you'll see some highlighted links. When you click it, that will take you down to the call to action at the bottom. On that, Seb's going to have a landing page where it'll take you to his site, the BDSS Digital site, with a landing page where you can get some information and get in contact with you. On that landing page, are you going to have them, is that something where they could book a free call with you, kind of go over their business and figure out how you guys can help? Or is that kind of where that goes?
Correct, yeah. So if you go to dbssdigital.com, the link will be around this post somewhere. And then yes, the process.
When they scroll down to the bottom, if they click your article, the links in here will take you to that with tracking attribution. So it's on Newswire Magazine right now. Scroll down, click that. It'll take you to that landing page to get scheduled.
Yeah, definitely. So you're right. The process is someone will, you'll go to that page. We give you a one pager on how everything works and a little mini presentation, which is completely free. So you can request that, understand how it works. We even got like a little visual we've just had created where it kind of just shows you, here's our 5 steps when you become a client of ours. From that point, you can then book a free discovery call with one of our team who, our team are also business owners, entrepreneurs themselves. So they'll be able to tell you, what problems you have, how we can overcome them, whether we can help or not help. Within the process of you booking a call, there are just a few very simple questions to ask. Just what is your website, so we can go and check out your business before we speak to you. It's little things like, what are you able to invest in your business right now? So very, very simple, easy questions, nothing too cumbersome, just so we can know a bit more about you before the call. We can do a bit of digging research, so we can get on the call and go, hey, we absolutely loved this thing you've got on your website. How can we make that better? We look at things in terms of not just what's not working in your business, what is working. If you are someone who, again, you're very good at selling, great. Okay, well, we know the selling part, we can tick that bit off, and we just need to feed you more people. Or maybe you've already got a really succinct automation process and there's not much we need to do on that. Great. Then we can hone in on obviously what isn't working, but we also look at what is working, because then we can just do more of that. And little things like, if we look at your website and we see you've got some videos on there, we can go, oh, you're really good at videos. Great. We can lean into that with the paid marketing side. So if you're good on video, that's helpful for us to know. So we can go, you're good at video, let's do a load of video ads so you can really get your brand and your business out there. You don't have to be good at video, obviously, but that's just an example. So we look at, what is working as much as what isn't working. That's all on our free discovery call. One of the things you get when you book that call is our list of services and how they all work as well. So yeah, everything's all provided to you when you book the call, and it's something we have in place so we can understand you as a business and see if you're a fit or not as well. Anyone who's not a fit, one of the things that we do is offer you some resources. We never like to send people to a dead end. So an example of that is I am actually an author as well. So I've written a book called Social Marketing Success, which is to do with not so much paid advertising. That was a book that I wrote back in 2020. So, during the lockdowns, I was bored at home and people said, write a book. So I did. But that's one of the things that, if I'm doing the call with you, in some cases I do, I'll be speaking to you and say, hey, it's not a fit right now, or this isn't for you at the moment. What I'd love for you to do is read a copy of my book. I'm going to send it to you, the online version for free. Go and grab it. Normally on Amazon for $10, but as you spent some time with me, you've taken an hour out of your day nearly. I'm going to give you something in return. That's only fair. Please have a copy of my book, read through it, and you pick up some useful stuff. And when you do need us, we're not going anywhere. So just reach back out. You've got our details, and we leave it at that. So, and we don't want to work with everyone, and not everyone wants to work with us, but we are all about, providing some value and leaving things on. Whether you work with us or not, we want you to leave the call going, hey, I actually picked up a couple of things that I can implement right now in my business. That's one of the things that I want to, finish the note on. Even if they never speak to us again, we've left a breadcrumb worth of values. And of course, they'll probably see us on their newsfeed at some point with our adverts anyway. But that's one of the things that we love to do when we speak to people.
I love that. We actually reviewed one of Alex Hormozy's books in Newswire Magazine. Are you familiar with Alex Hormozy? I
am, yeah. Absolutely love what the guy does. Yeah, he's always on my socials. So yeah.
One of the things that I love about Alex that I also think you're probably the same kind of guy is I hear him sharing value over and over and over and over again. Kind of like you said, where you get done, you've done this whole consulting call, help them tune up their business, maybe tune up their offer, get their landing page fixed up, whatever it is, tell them the stuff they need to work on. And if they're not a fit, where they understand, here's the next steps that I need to get done to where I'm successful enough, making enough money to be able to start working with Seb, where nobody gets off the call feeling like, man, I just wasted 35 minutes of my time here. It's always a beneficial thing, whether they pay you or not.
Agreed. Yeah. And of course, we are, hey, we'd love to work with everyone if they are a right fit for us, but we know that's not always going to be the case. And we know people's time is valuable. So that's one of the things that we do and that we offer. Even people that visit our website and leave their details, but they don't book a call, even those people go through a process where we'll have some automations, right? We've got to we've got to live and breathe it ourselves and have automations as well. But we're even sending out free case studies of here's one of our clients we've worked with. Here's some specifics about their business, what we did before we're working with them, afterwards, so they get a bit of an idea of who we can help. And people always say, well, who have you helped, and can you share a bit more information? Then we share those specifics in those follow-up emails as well. Just drip feeding them some valuable stuff and giving them some ideas and concepts. Like I mentioned about the WhatsApp stuff and the AI stuff, a lot of people don't know that. They've heard of it, they just haven't seen it in action. Can you give us some examples, Seb? Or what examples can you share? What other businesses have you helped? How have you helped them? And that's just a good way to slowly input that into their brain in a kind of automated fashion. And also one of the things we say when we work with people is, hey, you've booked a call with us, you've sent our adverts in our emails. Well, that proves the process works, because you've come to us, approached us, we haven't had to chase you down, you've booked a call with us, and here we are now on the phone together talking about working with me. If you could have even one of those calls that we're having now per day with your ideal person that we can specifically target on paid advertising, what will that do for your business? Again, like going back to what I said earlier, if you have 30 qualified conversations like that, one a day, and you close 10 of them, you could have a breakthrough year. You can have a breakthrough decade if you keep doing that over and over. And it doesn't have to be you doing those calls. So there's a lot of opportunity with the scale, the automation, everything we do. So those are some types of things we've seen when it comes to filling that pipeline on a daily basis.
Well, and there's something to be said about throwing enough mud to see what sticks. When we were launching the new version of the TV series last year, I did 183 podcast interviews as a guest on other shows in 90 days. Throwing enough mud to see what sticks is such a huge thing. Do you have an amount, like a set amount where you go, I know you mentioned the $5,000 a month. Is that $5,000 a month time by the 3 months to figure out if it's going to be what's going to work for them or not? Did you have a good enough offer where that's actually generating leads for you or not, right?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's different for every business. So it's a bit of a how long's a piece of string type answer, but it has to be enough for it to make sense, right? So it's like with your example, $100 a month, you might get some leads for it. You might spend that little and get something from it, but it's not enough for it to make sense. Kind of like with investing. If you are going to invest in stocks with $100 a month, then you can't possibly expect to 10 times that, the next month without really knowing much about how it works. So one of the things we always look at is, you need to go in there with, again, it's about that consistency. You are better off just spending a smaller amount on a regular basis. Even if someone starts with, let's say, $1,000 a month to advertise. Okay, so now we've got a bit more room in the budget to, one of the main things we look at when we are spending that money is the data we get from it. So if you're spending $100 a month, it's such a slow pace to get the data on how many leads you're going to generate, the quality of those leads, and what improvements we can make. If you're spending $1,000 a month, okay, we'd like it to be a little bit more ideally, but at least we're able to get some data quicker. It's about failing faster. How fast can you fail before we can then succeed? One of the things we look at when we do advertise is running several types of adverts. So video ads is one we mentioned. Those can work quite well. We've also seen image adverts outperform videos. It's not always a case of is video better than images. We have to test it to find out. It's different for every business. So it's difficult to see a bit of a trend when every business is different. And, we've got some people that want to do a video ad, but, it maybe they're just not as good at video as they are at writing. So there's all kinds of variables. But the point is, how quickly can we fail and get that data so you can make those changes and learning points? The other thing that's really interesting and touching on AI as well and relevant there, the way that you target with paid adverts has changed a bit, and Meta have been doing this for a little while. They're just doing more of it. So the two ways you can target at the moment is your detailed targeting. So that's your avatar. So location, age, interests, what people are interested in, what magazines they read, or they married, or whatever. There's that, but there's also behavioral targeting, which very much runs in the background. You don't have to do much to activate that. But the way that works is, the best way I can describe it is, if you're looking at adverts on Facebook and there's adverts about cars, and you're clicking those adverts, or you're liking them, you're engaging with them, you're sharing them, commenting, whatever it is. If you do that with an advert, pay attention to something, because you'll soon, or pretty much immediately, start seeing more car adverts, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's really interesting, because detailed targeting doesn't always necessarily work, because people might say that they live in London, but then they might not update their profile to somewhere if they've literally just moved. But if they interact with your adverts, with your competitors' adverts, they're more likely to see yours. So, and that's very much based on the algorithm as well. That's one of those big things with Meta. So it's a really great time to be advertising, because this is a really great way for advertisers to, in the past, you only had the detailed targeting, and that was trickier to work. Whereas now it's are people clicking on adverts like yours, and then Meta will show those adverts to people that are engaging with similar adverts to yours. So there's a lot of cool things that Meta are doing to make it easier for advertisers. Yeah, it's a great. It's almost like the gold rush of advertising. I will be honest, the cost of advertising has gone up, which makes it more challenging to make a profit, which is why high ticket businesses are better ones to be advertising with or for. But it's a better time than ever because of the reasons I mentioned with the AI, behavioral targeting, and there's less guesswork involved.
Again, if you're watching this on Amazon Fire TV, you may have heard him say that, and I just kind of skipped over the fact that if they've clicked on your competitor's ad and did not make a purchase, getting on a video call with someone like Seb Brantigan and being able to have him go through how to actually close that, how to tune up your landing page, tune up your funnel, make it to where you can close that lead. That's an interested buyer who is already searching a product or service like yours. If they did not make that purchase and now they're landing on your page, they're a ready and willing buyer. They're just waiting for the correct company, the correct service product that has the correct information, the correct look, feel, layout, whatever it is on the page, to be able to convert them as a lead, but they're ready to spend money. Again, scroll down here, click the link, schedule a call with Seb. I just met him today as far as this interview goes, but seems like a good dude, and I enjoy that you're there to help people and not just, if somebody's not willing to spend money with you right away, kick them out and never talk to them again, where you're going, I want to provide value even if they can't afford to work with me yet. So book a call with Seb. This is going to be, I think, a really beneficial thing for you. Any final thoughts for our viewers right now?
Yeah, definitely. I think, final thoughts would be, as well as, speaking with myself, with one of the team, one of the things that I'd be more than happy to offer, which we don't normally do, but for anyone who's listened to us today, and anyone who goes to our website, if you register there and you book a call, I'd even be happy to offer a free marketing audit on one of your digital assets. So your website or one of your adverts you've got running or email sequence, whatever it is, I'd be more than happy to do that as a bit of a side note. So make sure to do that, fill in the form on the website, and in one of the emails you get, just reply and just put the word audit, and we'll be able to pick that up. But the final thoughts would be, when it comes to looking at this stuff, is, as well as hiring an expert, even our team or another agency, another team, is really sit down and understand all of the ins and outs of what it is you're doing. So whatever your core offer is, simplify it. So when it comes to, people love simplicity, make sure that you're whether it is your offering is simple, and it's the best way you can simplify something is to target it and niche it down. So that way it's a very simple, clear message. It's clear. So that's one of the things that we definitely look at. Simplifying your offer, simplifying your brand, your business, and niching down is as I say, the best way to do that. One of the things I would say as well is just read up some books about it. There's a really good book called, I think it's called Work the System. I forget who's written it. Work the System, I'm pretty sure is the name of it. You can get it on Amazon. And that's a great way of looking at how do you simplify the marketing, simplify your offer. And of course, you mentioned Alex Hormozy. So he's a really good guy to look at. He's got his $100 million offer book. So make sure to grab some of his marketing as well. A lot of the things I cover, he's had a bit of influence on that. So follow people in marketing. So again, you can understand what the marketing can do. You don't need to understand the ins and outs. As long as you understand what it can do and its potential, then you're really onto something there. You don't have to do the implementation or to know the ins and outs to be able to benefit from it. So that would be my thing I would wrap up with for sure.
Powerful. And I'll actually link to Alex Hormozy's $100 million offers if we end up putting you on Newswire magazine. I'll link to that where people can, from your article, open up a separate tab, grab that book from Alex, get a copy of your book, schedule the review with you. Man, again, this was just awesome, Seb. I think you did a great job on this interview and really appreciate your time. I know it's getting late over there where you're at. Again, this was Seb Brantigan from DBSS Digital. Thanks again for being on the show today.
Appreciate that. And thanks again so much for having me, and everyone who's listened. Thank you for your time listening as well. Hope I've added, if I've added like one tiny bit of value, you've learned one tiny thing, then I feel like I've done my job and then some. So, thanks again for listening. And again, thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate you, brother.